Well, hello. Hello and welcome to the hellscape that is October 2019. And not a fun, kooky hellscape like a Stanley Kubrick movie, like a emotionally exhausting hellscape. Let's center ourselves in this energy that we're creating together. I'm sure I'm not the only one feeling this way. If anything, that's why it's been so long since I've recorded anything, because you can feel everybody, including, if you can hear it, there's a dog losing his shit next to me also. Colin, shh, stop. See, it's just everything. Everything. And this is the type of energy that shows up for people in all sorts of different ways. So that's one way I do feel fortunate. I've gotten rid of so much stuff and left so much stuff in so many relationships that really I'm feeling it only on like an emotional level or a purging level or a karmic energy level of clearing. Say hi. No, not to me. To the people. Tell everybody hello. No, just me? Here. There you go. See, look how sad and how bummed out he looks. His little ears are down. October's hard. Yep. Oh, okay. I have to talk. No, see. Are we good? Okay. You can lay right there. You can be a part of this. Anyway, the benefit of periods of time like this, and we can talk about it in any which way, any which direction. We can talk about it in terms of the astrology that's going on right now. I'm sure we could narrow it down to what's going on with each and every one of you or us personally right now. You're being the most. You can't be this needy. We could talk about it in terms of like scientifically and energy balance, like the Schumann resonance going up and down and up and down and up and down, and like just electrifying everything full of so much extra bonus energy that it shakes things loose and it brings things to the surface, and even old things that you might have thought you're done with, or you're like, I already handled that, or like, I went to therapy 10 years ago and really worked through this. But you gotta cut me a break. I'm gonna have to put you up someplace, okay? I love you. We'll go for a long walk as soon as this is over, okay? But for right now, can you say bye? Flip your ear over. Just say bye to everybody. Just explain that you're excited. Okay, get up here. Anyways, we could take it any one of those directions and explain it in any one of those things. But the bottom line of it is, when energy shifts a ton, when things around us shift a ton, when things in our lives shift a ton, we're forced into this position where we notice what it is that we're carrying. So if you move through life like a dog, or a little kid, or the Fool tarot card, or anything like that, where you're just responding to what's in front of you without attachment, you can be in any situation dealing with any type of thing, and it's fine. And you're fine because your happiness is not outside of you. You're just kind of happy all the time and taking things as they come. It's not a big deal. And this is how we try to be, and this is how our souls naturally are. But we take on stuff without meaning to all the time. All the time. It's like the emotional equivalent of that feeling of when you like sit in a comfy chair or get in a pool or get in a hot tub, and you know how you can feel your whole body just kind of like unclench, and you're like, oh, I didn't even realize I was uptight. I didn't even realize I was upset. I didn't even realize how tense I was. But like gradually, or even when you lay in bed at night, you can feel like your muscles one by one kind of like unclenching. I feel like that's what happens. We collect a lot of, and I don't even want to call it some, like, my gut wants to call it something like gunk or junk or like debris or whatever, but it's really not. It's just stuff that is old now, that served us for a while and doesn't anymore, or as a thought pattern or belief or relationship or something that we held on to that we just don't need anymore, or we outgrew, in the same way that if you just never got rid of clothes and had stuff in your closet from when you were a toddler, all of a sudden you look back and be like, oh, I fully don't need this. Like, love it, don't need it, doesn't fit, don't want it anymore. And so these things that make us feel so uncomfortable, it usually means that we're just carrying too much. We're either carrying stuff that doesn't belong to us, we're carrying stuff that's definitely ours, we don't need it anymore, or just energy that's gotten on us. Or if you want to think of it a different way, it's kind of the same. So the end result's kind of the same. It still is energy that needs to be cleared, but the origin's a little bit different in that you're more sensitive. So after all of that stuff, the Schumann resonance spiking, things that you've gone through, like your own evolution, your spiritual awakening, the more you meditate, you clean up your diet, any of that type of stuff does make you more sensitive. And so I do believe too that we go through these patches of time that just make us more aware of what has always been there, but it's bothering us now in a different way, if that makes sense. It's bothering us in a completely different way, and we realize that it's there and we don't need to carry it around anymore. So I think this puts us all in extremely uncomfortable position, but an important position. Like a recalibrating, reevaluating, cleaning up everything type of position. I wanted to tell a story on myself, even though it's embarrassing, because it just helped me a lot. And from like then forward, it's been like my first thought, like every time I run into just that feeling, because I feel like once you started paying attention to your emotional state, I mean, you feel fine pretty much all the time. Like when you notice the shift, you're like, oh, what's going on? And then you shift back and it's not a big deal. You're not going through these big peaks and valleys for the most part. For the most part, you just kind of feel good. And then you notice when you don't, and then you kind of correct it. And man, I was really going through it a couple weeks ago where I just like that fractious feeling where you're just so irritated and you don't even know what's wrong and you can't figure it out. And it just felt like everything I was trying to do, I had recorded this video that I'm going to put up after this one, unless it's already partially loaded. But either way, it's a very good video. It's wonderful. I really liked it. I even watched it again because something just didn't feel right about it. And so I was like, well, what the heck? And I went back and watched it, which I've like never done with any of them. And I was like, oh no, this is like what is unsettling me? What is going on? Because this is good. I like it. I stand behind it. It like feels good. It also like feels like something I should put out. And I just could not shake this like feeling. And I kind of sat with it. Didn't really get anything. Had to keep like pushing forward with my day, going to work, doing whatever. And it lasted like a couple days. And finally, I was at work and I was so annoyed. And it doesn't matter why, but long story short, I was trying to fold something flat. And I was folding them and they were flat and it looked all perfect and everything. But when I was like stacking them on each other, it was like crooked. And it was making me so mad. And that type of mad where you know that it's stupid that you're mad anyway, which is just making you more mad because of how stupid it is, but you can't figure it out. And I redid it. And then finally I was like, oh my God, like what is going on? Like what is going on? Why can't I make this how it's supposed to be? And then finally I got, come on, bud. Finally, I got so annoyed that I flipped it over. Like, I was like, I'm going to lose it. So I flipped over the thing I was folding, flipped it upside down, which also made me laugh because it only made me think of, because then, like, you have to chill out. Like, when you feel so insane like that, you have to just, like, step back from it. So I flipped over. I was like, okay, talk to me. Like, what is, because it's never about the thing that we're doing. It's never about the argument that we're having. It's never about the thing that's pissing us off. It's not about the traffic. It's not about the coffee maker. It's not about the kids that won't put their shoes on. It's never about that thing. It's always about a different thing. It's always about a bigger thing. The more upset you are, the bigger the thing is, and the deeper the thing goes. And so I was so annoyed. So I flipped it over. And I was like, okay, what? Like, I'm so annoyed. There's a lesson here. What is it? And first, because I always get, like, the guidance I always get always feels so, like, bemused. Like, they're like, hey, like, are you enjoying your temper tantrum? Like, what's going on? Because that guidance is there all of the time, always. It's always there. All of the guidance is always right there. We are not always on the frequency to where we can receive it. So if you're so pissed and so low or so negative or so whatever, you're outside of the frequency of being able to hear it. It's a really hard thing at first, or hear it or see it or feel it, or however you want to think of it, however you get your guidance, whatever is what ends up solving things for you. It's like a kind of hard thing to get used to when you first start paying attention, because you're like, oh my God, I can do this thing. Like everything got so clear. I felt really calm. And then the first time you sort of reach for it and can't get it, you think it's broken or you're broken or you did something wrong. Like that it's like it's a keyboard shortcut. You know what I mean? Like, oh my God, I typed it in wrong. And like, in a way you did kind of, but it's just giving yourself the time and space to reach a neutral enough place that you can access, because that's a higher vibration. Like peace and love and joy, or even just like that connection feeling, is a higher vibration than like if you're so scared. And like sometimes it'll bust through. Obviously, I kind of believe in that type of stuff, where like if you're in an emergency or you're really not paying attention, something's gonna come through and be like, hey, excuse me, not you, I'm sorry. Anyway, so I flipped it over, and I had to laugh because it just made me think of the Hanged Man in tarot, because it was like flipped upside down, and once something was folded that looked just like the leg in that tarot card, and I was like, okay, look at everything differently. I get it. I'm trying. Okay. And I just like paused, and I could hear laughter, because that's always, I could like hear and feel laughter. I was like, cool. cool. And I paused, and all of a sudden, like everything just like opened up and came through. I paused, and it was like, hey, this is all we're trying to get you to do. The way that everything is physically very slowed down right now and pared down right now, we want you to just slow down. And not the type of slow down where you just acquiesce and watch Netflix till it's over. We want you to slow down in the way where you're paying attention to everything that you're doing. And like, long story short, that I realized I was doing the like last part in the wrong order, so it was making a whatever. It doesn't matter. Nobody cares. But basically, it was like, you are doing it the right way, in the same way that you're doing other things the right way. You're folding this the right way. It also just doesn't matter. But basically, what you want at the end is for them to all sit flat. For them all to sit flat, you have to do it in this order. I want you to look at your life and look at the things that you're doing, and look what you're doing every single day. And is it going to enable you to have that end result that you want? Can you move through your life the way that you have been? Can you do all of the steps that you've been doing throughout your day? And will it give you the result that you want? That's all we're trying to do. And it just felt so, because it doesn't come through, that message doesn't come through, and I hope it doesn't come across in a critical way, because it's not. It's this like loving, beautiful benevolence of understanding that we so badly want that neat stack at the end, that we so badly have some goal in mind that we're chasing or working towards, and that the entire universe is like gathering together to just give us what we want. And so they're like, hey, everything's orchestrated, everything's all connected to each other. Like, I like to think of it in terms of astrology, because it's a more straightforward conversation, but some people get that a little bit backwards and think that astrology is causing the thing. It's like, no, we're all causing that. It doesn't matter. That's another conversation for a different time. But basically right now, that's why everything feels so slow, and that's why it feels so frustrating, and that's why these emotions are so overwhelming, and these feelings of overwhelm and exhaustion and just this raw anger that there is, and this frustration, and everything's just like a raw nerve, and it's like that on purpose. I want you to stop. I'm going to do anything to make you stop. Chill out. Look at it. Look at what you're doing. Look at the choices that you're making. And little choices, not like these big choices. I mean, you can reevaluate any size of choice, obviously. But everything, every part of it, what you're eating, what you're giving your attention to, what you're writing with, what you're doing, what you're thinking, every little thought, every little word, the way you speak about yourself, the way you speak about other people, what you're wearing. Like, we've all been through so much change in the last few years. It's time to see if what's around you still, and what's in you still, and what you're carrying around with you is something that feels like you still. So if you're feeling any of those big feelings, the odds are it probably doesn't. It probably doesn't. And that's okay, because we're all going through the same thing. All of us. And it's a little bit the worst, but it won't be forever. It's an opportunity. Anything that seems like the worst is an opportunity. And you need to give yourself time and space to be able to feel that. And it's okay for it to not feel like that. And you need to give yourself time and space to not feel okay. But at the end of the day, we just want the stack to be straight and look nice. And they're just trying to have every single thing come together to make sure we can have that. And that's it. I better take this dog out before he loses his little mind. Can you say hi? He says, I want to go outside. I'm not going to say hi. This is not my moment. I love you guys so much. I hope everyone has slightly better days coming forward and then way better days. And I'll post that other video because I think I did a visualization at the end that I really liked and that I do frequently for myself. And you can't, well, okay, I'm being boring. It's time to end it. I'll talk to you guys later. Goodbye.